Okay, we successfully installed the SQL Server on the node 2. Click next. Close the installation window. Now if we go and see the cluster, this is the cluster we just created. Right click on that cluster, refresh. Now if we go and see the network name, go to the advanced tabs, you will see that both the nodes are checked. Okay, so that means both the nodes are participating in this cluster. Okay, this SQL Server cluster, node 1 is the owner. For this cluster, node 2 is the owner. Okay, this is active installation. This is active cluster setup. Okay, if we fail over this, then node 1 will be processing both the SQL Server clusters. Okay, let us see, let us do that. We are manually failing over the SQL Server cluster to the node 1. Okay, now both the clusters, node 1 is processing both the clusters. Similarly, we can manually fail over both the clusters onto the node 2. Let us see what else we need to cover in this video. Okay, we completed this step. Now we are going to install analysis services cluster. Okay, we cannot add any services for the SQL Server cluster. Okay, but while installing SQL Server failover cluster, we can select database engine, analysis services, etc., but not after the SQL Server cluster is created. Okay, but it is not recommended to keep the analysis services in the same resource group as SQL Server. Okay, because it shares the CPU, the hard drive, everything, the resources. So it is always better to keep the analysis services in a different resource group. Okay, so we will install analysis services, and for the analysis services we need the network name and IP address, one shared disk. Okay, I think we don't have the shared disk. We need to create one for the analysis services, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We can start installing analysis services. Okay, let us see what IP address we have assigned for analysis services. Okay, 116, this is the IP address we reserved for analysis services. Okay, again start installing SQL Server, not the complete installation, just the analysis services. We already have the installation panel open, so again start installing new SQL Server failover cluster installation. Okay, before that let us quickly do certain things. Right now both the clusters are processed by the node 1. Let us fail over one of them to the node 2 so that it will be easy for us to install on node 1. Okay, and also we need to create a shared disk for the analysis services. For that, what we need to do, we are creating the shared disk on the cluster DC domain on that mission. Typically it will be a SAN disk or EFDs like that, but for the demo purposes I'm just creating this shared disk on domain controller, which is not a good idea, but it works. Double click on the StarWind console. We used all the 4 disks. Now we need to create one more disk for the SSAS disk. Okay, hard disk, image file, that is fine. Create it because we don't have that. Location will be, this is where we are storing all the images, the shared disk. So store the shared disk for SSAS here. The size will be 250, 512, give 512 MB. This is must, select that, click next, finish. We have successfully created the disk. So the StarWind will enable the storage to make it available over IP. We can go to the node 1 and use that shared disk. Okay, the discovery IP address is already there, and if you go to the targets, refresh, you should see one more disk that we just added. Okay, select that, click log on, select this option, click OK and say OK. Go to the computer management, format the disk so that it will be available for the cluster. This is how you add a disk to the cluster. Go to the disk management, you will see the new disk. Okay, which is unallocated. This is the one we added. Right click, make it online, initialize the disk. Okay, keep MBR, create new simple volume, iDrive, that is fine. NTFS, the volume label is SSAS. Okay, perform quick format, finish. Okay,